All right, I thought I'd do a little after Christmas update. We've done a little bit of stuff to the truck, but nothing huge or major. Right now, I'm trying to determine where I'm going to put the blow-off valves. I've got two of them. Come in the kit with the wastegates from VS Racing, two blow-off valves, two wastegates. People said don't put it on the hat because it'll disrupt airflow. So people say, oh, put it down here by the turbo, put it here, put it there. No bigger than what my charge lines are. I don't have a lot of options. So what I'm going to do is they're either going to have to go right here where I can get enough to get the boot on and get it clamped, or they're going to go right here behind this boot. It's close to it. I'll just draw a line on it. I'll mark them up here. I'll hole saw the holes where I want them, take them over, lay it down, weld it up. Or I got a buddy that said he can do it for me. He's a much better welder aluminum than I am. Because you can see I kind of got gloppy doing that, but it don't leak and it works. We got the block. They're by Vi-Air. They're for air ride, but they're aluminum, air fluid. They don't leak. This line going to the turbo is going to get changed to one that swivels on both ends, like this one. Up here, I believe these are actually brake lines, but a lot of guys use them for oil. I use them for like this one here, going to the gauge. That one goes to gauge, turbo plugged. That one down there is an oil temperature sender for oil temperature gauge. And there's a -6 line coming out of the cooler to feed it. Those are 1/4 inch pipe. This one's plugged. I ordered a bunch of stainless socket head plugs so I can make things look better. I'll pop that one out and change it. I got another one up here for all the boost reference stuff as far as gauge, fuel pressure regulator, one going to the MSD box, and I tapped this 1/4 pipe to -6. -6 hose is going to come down and go in this end of it back here. And I had a whole bunch of 1/4 to 1/8 pipe fittings sitting around, but and I could have went with black at like $7 or $8 a piece. I got 10 of these for $9 online, but we'll put it in here. If this becomes too big an issue or the line's too big, we'll change it. The blow-off valve lines are already tapped, one in the front, one in the back, one for each one. So, and I'm just gonna, like I said, either put them off of here or put them down here. This is a little thinner. It's made by CX Racing. It's like 1/8 inch maybe. This is 1/4 inch thick. So I may just draw a line right here, put them up where I want to, measure it, center everything up, hole saw it, and then do the welding part of it. I got a fitting so I can hook into here with AN to an overflow can. The manual boost, oh damn it, I'm tongue tied. Yeah, anyway, they're in there, they're Grim Speed, they're backed all the way off right now. And as I need, I can go down in 1/4 pound increments. Each click's a 1/4 pound. I think I put that in another video. All this is run high pressure silicone hose that I've had more than one person tell me to use because it was really good. Everything's sealed on the headers, V-bands, and if these leak, I've got some of them stainless gaskets from ATP Turbo that goes in there to help seal that up. And if these do leak, as you notice, these are 5/16, these are 1/4 inch, but these pulled down just as tight as these did. Something happens, these don't work. I've got some more 5/16 ones. I'll change them if I have to. But still got to get the plug done for the fans. Get the exhaust made up, which I've got some 4-inch stainless pipe, polished stainless to do that with. Get it mocked up, welded up. But I'm waiting on the carburetor. I sent the one back that I bought, the quick fuel, and I ended up ordering one from CSU. So it was a little more money, but I think it's worth it. I've heard nothing but good things about CSU's carburetor. So, you know, it wasn't that much more money for what you get, obviously. So we're going to give it a shot. As soon as the plugs get here, I ordered 3 new sets of plugs for it. because I need a colder plug than what I got in it when I was just running it in a I got a new cap and rotor to put on it because that one's been on there for like a couple of years. Get the new plug wires on it. Get the coil wires made up. I bought an extra wire to do the coil wire to match the Morosa wires on the inside, and not just use that Taylor wire. And then get it where we can fire it up. I'm probably going to start it the first time without the charge tubes ever hooked up, just to make sure, because I've had it apart and we redid the head studs, I rerun all the rockers and everything. Yes, it is a hydraulic roller, but these lifters, these anti-pump up lifters from Howard's, have a different way of doing things to adjust them on the preload. It's not really just a simple run them up and quarter turn, half turn, or whatever. There's actually a little math to the way they want you to do it. I did them at a half turn. That's what the engine builder did. So make sure that's all done. Make sure that I got the stud girdles placed right. The rockers ain't hitting them. It didn't when we turned it over with the starter. But just make sure all that's good. The lifters pump up. We got oil coming through the turbos. Now, a friend of mine did this and his works fine. I don't know if mine will. This side wasn't an issue. That side is this little ordeal right here. That's a 10 full flow 90. This screws onto here, female, then the male, then the 45 screws onto it, and then the line slopes down to a 45 right into the pan. Now, if this gets to be a problem, this is -10. These are all full flow fittings. But if this gets to be a problem, the fittings in the pan are actually -12. And I got an adapter going 10 to 12 to a 10. Now this is full flow. It is 1/2-inch hose. He's running the same exact thing on the exact same turbos. And he said that, you know, now his oil pressure ain't quite as high as mine. I'm at 60 pounds when the motor's at 180 degrees. At idle, at about 4 grand, it's up around between 80 and 90 PSI. So if this becomes a problem, I'll have to just put the 45 back on there. Now this side ain't an issue. This side, because as you know, V8 sets to the passenger side. That's why it's up in the fender on this side and not on that side. Oh, here's the issue with this one. As you can see, here's the tire. There's the drain for the turbo. Now, if you turn the tire in, it don't touch. But if you were to turn and hit a big bump, it'd probably jump up and smack this off of here and break this off. Now, this is a full open. It's better than a 1/2-inch into this fitting, which is tapered on the inside, and is better than a 1/2-inch full flow into here. This is probably closer to 5/8 on the inside into the, of course, the 45. It slopes at a constant slope down to the pan where there's another 45. So I could make the flow as freely as I could get it to go. But with that the way it is, I was going to do them 90s because he had the same issue. Different car, but the same issue. And his is actually a little closer because his car's lower in the front. But if I put that 90, then the 45, I'm hoping, like his, it'll just go through that little bit of that 90 there, that little bit that's flat, and then it'll drain on out. I've had guys say, well, you need an oil pressure regulator. Well, the only one that makes one's Turbo Smart, and it's set at 40 pounds. So if I need it, I'll use it, but I've had other guys say no because the oil flow is restricted in the small passages inside the turbo itself. So we'll see if it smokes and starts pushing oil out, then we'll know we've got an oil pressure problem and we'll correct it. But I don't run any kind of PCV. I got a breather coming out of each valve cover, and it's got a piece underneath with 3/8 holes drilled all the way around it. There's also a breather fitting coming out of the back in the intake valley into this catch can back here. So, and then these two go into a dual vented can down there. Now, when I tore the motor apart, And I don't know if it's because I only run a 180 degree thermostat or the fact that it was really humid there for a while and I didn't run the motor that long. There was a little bit of snot in the top of the valve covers. Now, I don't know if that's from the studs seeping and the moisture in the motor, because they were seeping pretty good. There was a probably shot glass so full of antifreeze around the back lifter on that side. You could see trails going down, and there was antifreeze puddled in the corners of the heads. That might have been what was causing it. Because like I said, I had like 5 on this side leaking and like 4 or 5 more on this side that were leaking. None of the outer studs have leaked except for that one I fixed. So I left them alone. But all of these, we pulled them out one at a time. I took a gun barrel brush and cleaned the holes with brake clean. I used gray silicone and gobbed them up, put them back in, and it's set since then. And then I warmed it up out here and let it set all day with it about 90 degrees in here so it could everything gel up. I left all the water ports open so air could get in on both sides and cure the silicone. So hopefully they don't leak. I've always used number 2 Permatex and never had an issue with them leaking. Use silicone or that Teflon stuff don't work. I don't care. It don't work. I've used it in the past and I've always had the studs leak when I've used them and used that stuff. But ARP wants you to use it, and I always ended up either dipping them in high tack and running them in, the liquid high tack, or the number 2 Permatex, and never had them leak. This time I used the gray silicone because a buddy did it, and he said, you know, that's the best stuff. So, but get it going. I'm anxious. I want to get it back running. I ain't so much worried about the boost and playing and burning tires and all that. I just want to get it back running. So, I don't like the fact it sits out here in the cold. And why we're only going to run 10 or 12 pounds is for 2 reasons. One, the pistons that are in this are a 4340 forging. Kind of mixed with, was it 2618 or 2816? They're a JE. They're kind of a hybrid piston. The new one they come out with that's in between, which basically you don't have piston slap, but they're tougher than a 4340. Okay, they're only rated to 16 pounds according to JE, because of where the top ring land is, how far it's down, it's a solid dome and all that stuff. That's one reason. 2 is the head gaskets I put in this are really good multi-layer gaskets, but they're not rated for super high boost. So, and the fact that the block is not a Dart block. It is a GM Performance Parts or whatever, one of their bow tie blocks. So it don't have the blind head studs. They do go into a water jacket. And I don't want to run big boost and take a chance of pulling a head stud out. So, but I've been told that block's pretty tough. Other than that, that's it. And, you know, with what this thing makes NA, with the compression as high as it is, it don't need a whole lot more to go with it. So, you know, 8 to 10 pounds, maybe 12, with the timing set right. That's about all we're going to do with it. I'm not trying to set the world on fire. I'm not trying to go out and street race it every weekend. This is my toy. This is my deal. This is something I wanted to do with my son. And we're going to do it. And then we're going to turn around and build something super nasty. He wants to build a super nasty one for his. So as soon as we get this running, I'll start doing the rest of the stuff, like changing the front suspension. All that can be done in between. You know, that can be done in a day or a weekend or whatever. Anti-roll bar. It's nothing major where the truck's setting down. Then we're going to take and get that turd fixed and out of here. I got to cut the top of the core support, radiator support out. I got a new one. I got to weld it back in. Get the fenders and the bumper and everything hung. Get it stuff squared up. Put it back together. Give it back to my other boy. The Blazer's probably going to get pushed outside at some point when the weather allows it and covered up till whenever we get to it. And then we'll put his up here next to mine. Have that area over there to do whatever we need to do over in that area. Now that I got that plastic and stuff up in there, that Panda plastic, it stays a lot warmer. But like I've said in some other videos, hopefully within the next 2 years, I'm going to tear this down and put a metal building up. I want to lift. I want a better building to work in. I've spent my whole life working on gravel, dirt, outside, whatever. And don't get me wrong, this building serves its purpose. It's big. I've got as much upstairs above me as I've got down here. But it's just, it needs a lot of work done to it. You know, big oak trees cracked the floor all over in here. The floor in that front part in there is asphalt. The floor back here, they cut corners and made it asphalt. There used to be a wall right here with a door right there and a stairwell, and I tore all that out so I could get stuff in and out of here and work up here on the concrete. But it's coming along. It's just now we're waiting on parts. I'm waiting on these. We're going to use these things. They're called S-Max ice cooler. They're a tube that has a cooling tube in them with 4AN fittings on them. We're going to use them and run some kind of fluid through them to help keep it cool with a little cooler and a fan and a box, water box. Because I have no room for an intercooler. I'm not running charge pipes through the cab, not the bed, or under the truck. I'm not messing. I just don't have room for it. So, you know, and with it being carbureted, that'll help some with fuel atomization and charge air being a little cooler. But we're going to do everything we can. I'll try them. They're $100 a piece on eBay. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to convert it from 4AN up to 6AN. And then just use like a 30-row plate and fin cooler with a little fan on it, a little water pump to circulate the water through them. And putting something like some of that cooling fluid that they use, or minus 34 windshield washer fluid, or whatever will work is what we'll use in it. If I have to, I can put ice in it if I decide to race it and use ice water, whatever. Put dry ice in the water if I race it, whatever it comes to. But I'm not into tearing it up. I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money on this. And my son's threw a lot of money at it. And we've been over a year putting this thing together this time. You know, between building the engine, buying a really nice FTI transmission, building a completely new 35 spline 8.8 and putting underneath it. You know, we've put a lot of money in it. A lot of money in it. So, it's time now to get it to make noise. So, as long as it's quick and tears the hell out of tires, that's fine. And hell, it'd destroy tires the way it was. And then notice some of the people like the tunnel ram, but that was only temporary anyway. In the back of my mind, I knew that was a temporary thing. Even if I did put some nitrous on it, it wasn't going to stay that way. It probably would have got changed to this down the road at some point. Like I said, it just took me time to get away from it, and the fact that I've got a 4-year-old grandson that's here almost all the time. We're basically raising him while my daughter does school and work and everything she can to try to get stuff accumulated and get herself established. And so it keeps me from doing a lot of stuff. It really does. But I wouldn't trade him for the world. As he gets older, you know, this summer he'll be 4.5 years old. He's starting to get where he's a little better to get to stay focused on things. He come out and helped me pull the grill and the bumper and all off the other day. And then he sat here and played on his tablet. And then he sat in the truck, and it wasn't that big a deal. He wasn't trying to take a screwdriver down the side of the truck or nothing like he used to. You know, my wife's working 12 hours a day, 4 days a week, and then the other 3 days she does her private duty with Alzheimer's patients, mainly in the Jewish community. So she's gone. My wife's mother's here because her health is declining. She can still drive short distances and do things, and she tries to help around the house, and she cooks and all that. She's a pretty good cook, so, you know. And we butted heads early on, you know, 10 or 12 years ago, but she's kind of come to her senses, and we get along now. But and then my son has 2 days off a week. So, you know, it's just hard to get out here and get anything done. But when we do, we get a lot done in a little bit of time. So, and I really want to try to record more of this as we're doing it. I know some of it will get boring, but I got everything now to do it. I got stuff, and my daughter showed me how to do the videos from the new camera to the laptop, and maybe do a little fancy editing and stuff. So, but I probably won't do that because my channel's no big deal. You know, I just got a little beat up ass S10 with a big block and a pair of hair dryers in it. You know, it ain't like it hasn't been done before. Well, maybe it has. I don't know. I just didn't cut this truck up. Literally, I did not. The only thing I did was moved that on the back side of the lip at the firewall to give me a little bit more room for my dipstick, and notched the cross member and boxed it back in. It's got the complete factory core support back in at this time. So, you know, and I added a bunch of bracing to the frame, which ain't cutting the truck up. It's got a bunch of 1 3/4 tube underneath it to brace the frame where I thought it would work. So, and it's braced from literally about right here all the way to the back between the frame rails. Added a whole whopping 56 pounds, I think is what I weighed all the tubing out on a bathroom scale before I welded it in. So, with that being said, I bored you enough. I'm going to go inside. It's cold. I ain't turned the heater on. But as soon as the carburetor gets here from Kevin and all them at CSU, we'll get it on there. Start getting everything done. I'm probably going to order these things and some other stuff, the cooler and all that system, the few other little things I need. I'll probably order sometime this week. And then see if we can't get it to make noise. So, and right now, you know, ordering parts between Christmas and New Year's is just a shit show. So, you know, it's just going to get here when it gets here. The post office is running way behind. I've waited anywhere from 10 to 14 days to get stuff that should have been there in 3 days. So, you had the big Christmas rush. Now you got everybody sending shit back. So, anyhow, everybody take care. God bless. And as soon as we get some parts, I'll throw some more up on this thing. And I'll actually set the camera up out here instead of my phone like I'm using now. And let you see me work and cuss and gripe and moan and, yeah, all that fun stuff. But believe it or not, this thing is easier to work on, even though everything's tight and big and ain't supposed to be here, than a factory V6 is in one of these. Much easier. So, everybody take care, God bless, and I will put more up later.